Hey everyone, it's me, Ari Dawson Rashid. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist. Listen, people know what they're doing. That does not mean people realize what they're doing. That doesn't mean people can be mistaken about the consequences of what they're doing. Someone may think that they're doing a good job disciplining their children by using excessive force on them. But science will show you, and history will tell you, that being so harsh with your children will generate toxic adults and monsters. So their logic is they're doing what's best for their children. If they are deluded or mentally ill, they don't realize what they're doing. But they do know that what they're doing at the moment is not something they would do to anyone else that easily. So they know that what they're doing isn't proper and they can't get away with it. They seek to justify it internally by coming up with the excuse that they're doing for the children's own good. Now, maybe they truly intend to do it for the children's good, but the fact they're doing something that's harmful to their own children and they seek to justify thinking it's doing for the children's good shows you how mentally ill or even deluded they are. But they know the act they're doing that's not the good thing. Again, people know what they're doing, even if they're not aware, even if it doesn't get through to them, what the consequence will be of what they're doing. That's a big difference. Just because people don't realize what they're doing does not mean they don't know what they're doing. For example, I spoke to this believer once who told me something that happened to him around a decade ago. He was starting his own business and he had a business partner helping out. But the business partner always delayed in making appointments. He often didn't show up at meetings, all of that. So eventually the believer thought, you know what, I need to move away from you because you're not serious about this. So the believer moved away. And later that former business partner admitted, you know, man, the reason I kept sabotaging everything was because I felt like when everything is done and arranged, you would move on without me. I would be left behind. You wouldn't need me anymore. And the believer back then was thinking, what? Me leave you behind? We're business partners. But there's the thing, that business partner operated in unbelief. He doesn't trust his Father. And this distrust towards God, he was now projecting onto this believer. In his dark mindset, this unbeliever thought, oh, this guy will abandon me when he doesn't need me anymore. Well, it happens in the world often that people abandon you when they don't need you anymore or when they can't get anything out of you. That's true. But it doesn't mean that everyone you meet out there will treat you that way. A lot of people do you that way, but not everyone. But this individual operated in unbelief and was projecting bad intentions onto the believer. So that unbeliever knew very well what he was doing. He was sabotaging, hindering that fellow believer. If he did not want to be part of the venture, why didn't he just say it, admit it, and get out? The believer wouldn't be able to stop him from leaving. So he decided to stay and hinder the believer because he wanted to remain needed. So did he realize what he was doing? That he was also blocking his own blessings, blocking outcomes for his own life too? Was he realizing he was actually holding himself back too? Likely not, but he did know that what he was doing back then was to hinder that believer. He knew what he was doing. There was this, I watched many documentaries of celebrities, so forgive me if I don't know which celebrity it is. But there was this guy from 1980s, I believe. I believe he was a rock star or whatever. He had a close friend who also helped him out, I believe as a manager or something like that. Eventually, that close friend who also did management stuff left out of the blue, just disappeared. The artist died. All the artists died. Interviewers asked the former friend and manager, why did you leave the guy? Was there a fight? He said, no, there was no fight, no problem. I just didn't feel comfortable that he was getting all the spotlight and he got all the attention. I mean, it wasn't about me, and because it wasn't about me, I wasn't comfortable with it. So when I saw that, I thought to myself, what? So someone who didn't intend any harm to you, someone who was on good terms with you, you just abandoned them because you feel like you don't get enough attention? Because it's not about you. What type of narcissistic bullshit is that? It's it's bullshit. There's not a good reason. That individual just narcissistic, and because they didn't think it's gonna go their way on their terms, it just disappeared. If a lot of people like that, they know what they were doing. Now, did they realize what they were doing? That it would later make them look stupid and would backfire on them? No. But it does change the fact that they knew what they were doing at the moment. Listen, are there people on earth who have no idea what they're doing because they're so messed up, they're so confused, they're so mentally ill, they have no idea what they're doing, and they actually need intervention? Such people exist. But stop acting like that's the norm in the world. Not everyone out there is crashing down mentally to such an extent that they need constant intervention from others because they have no idea what they're doing. That's not the majority of the population. Most people out there, they know very well what they're doing. That does not mean that they have a good reason for what they're doing. It doesn't mean it's justified. It doesn't mean we should condone it. But they have their own twisted logic why they're doing it. And they know what they're doing because if they're not serving Heavenly Father, that means they're out there to seek relief. Anytime anything goes against the relief, they'll either attack it, walk away from it, or seek to sabotage it. Remember, people who don't serve Heavenly Father, they're out there seeking relief. Anything that goes against the relief, they'll either attack it, that's direct violence, or they will abandon it, ghost people, ghost whatever goes on, or they will seek to sabotage it so that they can remain relevant at expense of whatever they're against. Some people will stay close to you just to hinder you. There are even people getting married with someone they can't stand just to prevent an individual getting better so they can remain relevant as the spouse needs help. There are jobs out there where the employer and your colleagues actually want you gone, but they know if they fire you and you leave, you end up much better than they are. So, because they can't live with the idea that they can't stand you, and you're somewhere out there unbothered by their hate towards you, and they're the ones left behind with all the issues of their hatred, you enjoy life because they can't handle that. They want to keep you there so they can see their negativity affecting you so they feel good about themselves. Some people will stay with you just to sabotage you so they can gain some type of relevance in hindering you. I'm telling you, people know what they're doing. So listen, don't go out there just suspect people from having bad intentions towards you. That's paranoia. And if you're paranoid, you need help right now. Go into therapy, go into counseling, whatever you need to get help. Just understand, people in general, they know what they're doing. So stop making excuses for people who are openly contradicting themselves and dragging you into ruin. Stop it. They know what they're doing. They know they need to stop. They know they need to own up to stuff. They just want to continue to escape. That's it. Anyone who's not actively serving Heavenly Father, do not expect righteousness and pure quality from them. Don't do it because you will not find it. It's a miracle to see an unbeliever operating in quality because it's not the norm. Listen, people know what they're doing. For example, if your wife often is late for appointments, or if your wife often comes home late, and let's say your wife struggles with alcoholism, and over again she's complaining about people not helping her out, blah blah blah, but you keep seeing that she keeps going to places to get drunk. Listen, at some point you need to admit your wife does not want to get better. That her drinking all the time and getting drunk is her way to have some type of control. It's her way to cope with whatever she does want to own up about herself. Maybe, uh, maybe she, I don't know, maybe she grew up in a household where she felt rejected all the time, and her getting drunk is a way to forget about that. Or maybe she's a lot of stress because all the people she did dirty in the past. And because she hasn't owned up to how nasty she treats other people, that's why she's drinking often. Taking out that stress on herself. Whatever it is, that's dysfunction. There's something she's not owning up to. There's something she's running away from. And to her, it's more important to run away from whatever she doesn't want to face than to be there as a good wife to you, a good mother to your children. She's putting that escapism above you, the children, and everyone around. So she's sacrificing her own well-being as well as well-being of everyone around them, including you and the children, just to have her escape. So she's being narcissistic. She's doing you wrong. But at the same time, she doesn't want to lose the comfort of being a wife, mother, or so-called respectable citizen around. So she has to choose. Either she actually becomes honorable by owning up to whatever she's not facing, going to therapy and counseling and become a better and safer human being. Either she does that, or she just crashes completely. But here's the thing, because she doesn't want to crash completely, she's not leeching off of you guys, including you, her husband. At some point, you need to stop making excuses and admit you're dealing with an abusive individual. I don't care whether she's a reprobate or not. You don't have to be a reprobate or call a narcissist, sociopath, psychopath for you to be abusive. You have abusive people out there who are not narcissists, sociopath, or psychopath, just abusive people. They do not want to own up to anything. They keep on fleeing, and they don't care who they have to use or who they need to let down for them to get their escape. They know what they're doing. If someone really wants to be better, they'll move heaven and earth to find ways to be better. Even if they need help from other people, from their part, you'll notice they want to be better. But if someone does want to own up to stuff, they'll make excuses and they'll attack people that don't think they're excuses. I'm telling you, people know what they're doing. I'm not saying this so you can use this as an excuse to attack people and become paranoid towards them. No. It can happen that you encounter someone who truly has no idea what they're doing because they're so mentally messed up by trauma and stress and they need intervention. Such people exist, but they're not the norm. So stop labeling people who are just wasteful as if they're mentally ill people who need help. Mentally ill people need help, they need help. Wasteful people, you mark them and avoid them. Simple as that. Stop calling wasteful people mentally ill. They're not mentally ill, they are wasteful. They know what they're doing, and the thing is, they don't even value themselves properly to want better for themselves. If you think they're going to value you, no, they don't value you. If they cannot value you if they don't value themselves. And if they did value themselves, they wouldn't be that way. People know what they're doing. Sometimes when you ask them, why did you do that? They might reveal the truth of what's on their mind. Often they try to sugarcoat their motives, try to sugarcoat things, but sometimes they just can't help but to say it for what it is. Now look, if you're dealing with someone like that, stay at peace, pray, and fast about the situation, and slowly unlink that individual and move on. You can't change them. No matter how much you argue with them and force them into therapy, they will not improve unless they let go of whatever it is they need to let go of. You can't make them better human beings, but you can become better by not putting up with their self-destruction that's also harming you. That's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.